Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Jimmy. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are going over Final Cut Pro, and today's video is going to be geared more towards the beginner who is afraid to, not afraid, just can be overwhelmed with how open-ended and customizable Final Cut Pro can be. And I get that because I was there, I still am there. But I'd like to show you guys what I do on a daily basis with Final Cut Pro. Super simple stuff. It's very close to iMovie. It just has a little bit of more customizability to make your end product look the way you need it to for the time being. So the first things first, I need you guys to get Clean My Mac. It's a program on your Mac that allows you to do a deep scan, and that deep scan reveals gigs and gigs of stuff that you don't need on your computer and it erases it for you. It's harmless to do. Gets rid of logs and just loose ends that gets bogged down your computer. I'm talking 6, 7 gigabytes sometimes if you do it on a bi-weekly basis. What else do you need to know? Have a lot of space in your computer. You can also have a external hard drive. However, I like to save stuff on my actual hard drive when it comes to the clips, which I'll show you in a little bit. So that's why you need a lot of space. Also, your computer needs room to breathe as it's processing and playing things back and all the transitions and stuff. It needs room. So don't fill your hard drive up with tons of movies that you don't watch. Back that stuff on a hard drive. Come back to it later. Um, you also need to, I guess, go here, go to Finder, and then go to here, Movies, and you'll see this little purple icon. It's called a library. It's where all your clips go. Once you're done editing for a month or whatever, you never go back to the old files and you don't need them anymore, and you're sure of that, and you've already exported all your projects, you can take this and just delete it, okay? You can also delete them from within the Final Cut um, app, and there's other places to delete lots of other files too. But for right now, let's just delete that for right now. Okay, I'm going to empty the trash here. You can look up on YouTube um, deleting extra stuff or freeing up Final Cut Pro space. And you will see that there's lots of hidden areas that can sometimes accrue a surprising amount of gigabytes if you're a big time editor. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, so clean my Mac and getting rid of that library when you don't need it. Let's go open Final Cut Pro. I want to tell you guys that I did make a few videos on my phone and I dragged them onto my desktop. You can use a memory stick. You can use any sort of media, even music, even pictures. You can just literally drag these into a project like this, which I'll show you guys in a second. Or you can go ahead and press this import button here. It's a down arrow. You can press that, or you can press this here, import media. You can also go to File, Import Media. Of course, this is a program. We can do 5 different ways of any one thing. Like I said, this icon here is a library. So this is where all your stuff goes, right? All your clips, all your phone, your media, they all go here. And you can rename this anything you want by clicking on it and renaming it. I usually leave it untitled because I'm not a professional videographer. I'm not going to have tons of libraries, right? I just put everything here, use what I need, and move along. Now I'm going to press import media, and I'm on a desktop right now. You see this is highlighted. These are the clips on my desktop. I can also import pictures or clips from my phone or other people's clips from their hard drive as well. You plug in maybe a different hard drive, you'll see it here, or a disk perhaps. I'm going to just go ahead and put all these in. As you see, one is vertical, one will be horizontal, one will be mega widescreen. Look to the right here. I know this is a little intimidating, but we're not going to go over everything, but just copy my settings. Just leave this as it is, copy to library, meaning it will copy to your hard drive so that you can edit watching TV. You don't need to have your hard drive next to you. We're just using your computer space for now. Also, check this box, create proxy media, because we want to be able to play back and edit fast. We don't want to have everything bogged down as you're doing it in real time. It can edit everything later when you're ready to export. So just click that and don't worry about analyzing audio right now. Maybe you can fool around with that later. And import selected here. Again, I've highlighted all of them, so all of them will now be imported into my library. Now the clips are relatively small, so it did not take too much time here. Okay, there you go, this progress bar here. And I can't just drag them in now, right? I need to be able to make a project. So I can press Command N or just new project here, and I will call it my os. No, I already called it that. Um, how about my project? Okay, so this icon is for a project called My Project. If I open a new project, I can just make one up called Camera. So now I have two projects. If I double click on this one, you will see that camera is here. So what project am I working on, people? It's called camera. If I click on this, what project am I on? It's called My Project. Let's work on My Project for now. Because this media is from my phone, I recorded it in a certain way. I'm not sure if you guys realize this, but phones nowadays record differently depending on which format you have it set to, what ratio, what format, whether it's vertical, whether it's sideways, it all matters, right? So I'm just going to put this one in for now. I'm just going to drag it into my project and it's going to ask me like, hey, is this okay? 30 frames per second, resolution is HD, 720 HD. Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to press OK. Don't mess with this stuff. Just leave it as is. Okay. So I can use this and scrub through. You can also make it where you hear back, but this is fine for now. And when I move it off, obviously I don't see anything. I can also play around with this size here by not doing this. I'm trying to stretch it out. It won't do it, right? It won't stretch out. How can I make this easier to see? By using the pinching motion on my fingers, just like you would do with a cell phone or a smartphone. Now it stretches out like so, and I just move more towards the left to get a better view. If I want to get super exact with my cuts and super exact with where I'm talking and where I'm not, I'm obviously going to stretch out even further. If it's too far, go ahead and reverse that action. I want to make this somewhat presentable, right? So I'm not going to cut things up right now because if I cut this in the middle, like so, if I don't like this, I just want to cut it. Now I did that by pressing B. I press B, now it's a blade. If I press A, it goes back to pointer tool, right? It looks like an A a little bit. If I press B, I can cut things like a blade. I can also go here. So I use these quite a bit. Select and blade. So A and B. Now I've cut this in the middle and I can go back to pressing A. I'm on the pointer tool. I can move this around. So I have two independent parts now, right? So you can cut it here if you're more experienced, but as a beginner, I recommend leaving it whole. So I'm going to go to edit and do undo move and undo blade. So now it's one piece again. And the reason why is because if I change, let's say the color, or if I change the volume, I want it to affect everything. I don't want to make two separate pieces, not right now, not for you guys, okay? So as I mentioned, the sound and the color is very important. But before we do that, we talked about how to make it bigger or smaller. We're using my fingers. But if we go to the right-hand side here, I can go to this thing. This is a transition icon. If I click on it, it hides it and it shows it. I can pick any one of these to transition between parts. Let's say if I'm going from the indoors to the outdoors, using a transition would make it nice. I can also pick one of these. This is an effect. I'm not going to go over these right now, but you can sharpen, you can blur, and remember, if you've cut your parts, you will have to affect both of them in many ways. There's many ways to do that, but let's not worry about that right now. Again, if you click on that, it goes away. This is a film strip. I click on this. Now, watch what happens. It's exactly what happened before with my fingers, right? I can expand it or condense it. This one also changes the view. And I can also click on these as well, changing how it looks to me. All personal preference. Click on that to make it go away. Now I'm going to show you guys the top left hand side of things. This is the project tab, and then this is more media. You can go into your computer, and this one is the title section. This is very important for many people to know, right? And I will show you guys how to use this closer to the end of the video. Now, towards the upper right hand corner here, this is more view stuff. By clicking it, you can get different views. Okay, now let's go ahead and affect the sound. And I'm going to highlight it by clicking on it and making sure that this is on it. Now I'm going to click not this one. This is affecting like the editing of the actual video. This one is the color, which we'll get into in a second. This one is for the sound. You see the little sound icon? If you look carefully, this is like kind of like a cross section here. Everything, oh, this is the entire section maybe. There's no yellows or reds, meaning it's not maxed out. That's a good sign. That's not too low, it's not too high. This is the volume slider. If I move this to the right, you see that it maxes out. This is now not good, right? So we want to make sure it's right there. A little red, a little yellow, maybe not at all is very good. Now I'm going to play it to see how it sounds. And I do that by clicking on an area and pressing the space bar or this play button. I recommend the space bar. So take time to press the space bar and press it again to stop.
On. Okay.
Now you can also press B to cut up your project and A to go back to the pointer tool. Okay, so now that we've heard it, you can hear that there's a loud sound.
Purifier on. Okay. I'll see you guys in the tutorial.
Okay, it doesn't sound all that great, so we're going to have to mess with this because sound is more important than the actual video itself. If people cannot hear you, it makes it more unprofessional. So you're going to highlight it, make sure that this thing's on here, and then click on noise removal. When I click on noise removal, you can see that the wave kind of shrunk down a little bit. It's compressing it, it's making the noise go away, and it's already at 50%. And let's go ahead and listen to any differences by pressing spacebar.
I am here with my friend and I have the air purifier on. Okay. I'll
So as you can see, I just pressed spacebar again to stop it, that the noise purifier sound was decreased significantly. If I play with this in a more extreme sense to about 90%, it will affect the way you sound as well. So it's a give and take, right? You want to do just enough that makes you sound professional. And also, you probably shouldn't be making a video next to an air purifier anyway. But when I make videos, I do it even if there isn't any noise. I find that gives me a little bit more bass and I can always EQ it later. If the air conditioning comes in and out, it's good to have the noise removal clicked on here. Maybe about 50 to 45% is fine. Okay. If there's absence of no noise, it's also kind of strange, right? Volume now, we can bring this up a tiny bit like so. Okay. I recommend doing this or clicking here. Again, it's affecting the entire block, right? Because I did not split it up yet. So that makes it easy for me. If you found that you placed the lapel mic in a lavalier in a weird place and you need to change here, cut the bass, for example, or make it louder or whatever you need to do, you can do that, or you can just do a custom equalizer type of thing going on here. So that's totally up to you. I don't do that. I find that I don't need to. I use a special microphone, but everyone's situation is different. So no matter how you're recording your sound, you should be able to reduce the noise, change the equalization, and raise the volume or decrease it as you see fit. Okay, that's huge. Okay, guys, I hope you guys realize how important that is and how simple it can be. Now, now that we changed the sound, let's change how it looks. Before we add titles to it, let's just change like my overall appearance, right? It's very washed out because the sun was right on me going through a window. And I am going to press this little triangle here. This triangle shows me color, saturation, and exposure, right? I can mess with these, but I recommend going to color wheels. For some reason, professionals like to use these, and I kind of see why. This is up or down in terms of like how much shadows, exposure, and highlights and midtones there are. And so I like to punch up the highlights a little bit if needed. Maybe right around there is fine. Shadows bring it down. It's a little too washed out. And midtones can change the look of um, the skin tone depending on what clip it is. So this one affects the saturation here. I can make it black and white, whatever. Just play around, get a good look here. And if you have good lighting as it is in your office, you don't need to work with these that much, right? If you have a bad situation, like you're in front of a green screen, you look terrible, then you're gonna have to do some more color correction. If you split up your clip too much in the beginning, you're gonna have to apply this to every single clip in several ways. But for right now, just make it easy. Don't split it up until the very end. Okay. And now that I'm happy, sort of, with the color, I'm going to leave that alone now. I'm going to play it just to see how it sounds and how it looks.
Fire on. Okay, I'll see you guys in the tutorial. Bye-bye.
All right, so now that we've adjusted the sound and the look, I'm going to now start cutting things up. And I do that by moving this in a certain place and then just kind of playing it from there.
Okay,
So I don't like that when I say okay. I'm gonna find a good spot after I give the thumbs up, of course, and my mouth is closed. I'm gonna press what letter, ladies and gentlemen? The B on my keyboard and it turns into a blade. I'm going to press my mouse and it splits it right down there. Then I'm going to grab the skimmer here and move it to a different place. Okay, I can't really get a good point here. It's snapping, right? So I'm going to do what? Expand the selection, make it bigger so I can make a better cut. And I'm going to do that by going to this icon here on the right, and I'm going to drag this out slowly like so. And then I'm going to make a more exact cut. Maybe right there looks good. I'm still on the blade tool. I'm going to just press the mouse. Great. Now that I'm done cutting, I'm going to use the letter A on my keyboard. And now it's back to this mouse tool and I'm going to highlight it and just delete it or move it to a different area. I can even layer it on things, but I'm just going to highlight it and take it out by pressing delete. Now let's play by pressing spacebar.
fire on. I'll see you guys.
Okay, that's better. If I think the sound can be messed around with more, I'll kind of take this fader here, just hovering it over like so, and just kind of doing that.
I'll see you guys.
Are there better ways to adjust the sound? Of course there is, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're just kind of getting by on a YouTube video that will pass as, as a quality video when you're trying to impart information to other people. So I think so far it's fine. What else can we do? Can I put a transition here? I could, but it won't do much because there's no point. And also, there's no change in scenery, so you won't really see the transition. Let's talk about the end here. If I want to kind of cut it out of that arm there, I can drag this in a little bit right there and stop it right there. Then it'll be a pretty abrupt stop.
Bye.
That's it. If I don't want to do that, I can drag it out as much as possible, give it some room, and then give it an effect towards the end, a transition. So I'll go to the transitions tab and I'll do cross dissolve like so. If that's too much of a transition, I can also adjust that a tiny bit like so. Watch carefully,
Bye.
like that. If I still want it bigger, I can drag this out a little bit more.
Bye.
Okay, and that's kind of how it's done. Again, I'm pressing spacebar. If I want to fade in, I can also just drag in cross dissolve and move it into place. Now let's press play from the beginning.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
If I want to adjust this, I can.
Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Jimmy. I am here with my friend, and I have the air purifier on. I'll see you guys.
Now I'm going to add a title. And the titles, as you can see, is in the top left-hand corner. This is already picked, the T here. I'm going to click that, and there's so many choices here, right? You can just pick even like a solid color to put a title over, and you do that by dragging this out and kind of putting it there. It looks huge, right? But that's because we're really zoomed in right now. So I'm going to zoom this out like that. And we can put this here, we can put this in the beginning, we can put this in the middle. I'm just dragging it and putting it into place. It's very much WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. And we can put the title over that. But let's just say, yeah, let's do that actually. I'm just dragging it into place, okay? And I'm going to make sure that's highlighted, and then I'm gonna go to this thing here, and I'm going to adjust the color to something maybe like purple. That sounds cool. And then I'm going to put a title on it by going back to the title section and then pressing custom. You can also press Control T. I'll show you that. If I press Control T, it makes a title. So you can also just do Control T and just work from there. These are all customizable. No matter which one you pick, you can change the size and the font, the angle, anytime. So just press Control T for now, and then you'll see that this point can be dragged around like so. Okay. Now, as you see here, I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit more, like so with my fingers. And you can see now it was never really at the beginning, right? So I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll do this a little bit, and then I'll kind of put it right there. I'm dragging it to fit right there. Should be okay. In fact, maybe I'll drag this out a little bit right there. And now I want to make this title say something. Hello, right? Make it friendly with a smiley face. If I want to change how this looks, you'll see that as I click on this, you see my writing here, and the writing has also changed within the purple line. Um, I am going to make sure this is clicked here. This is the title section, and I can then change the size to be nice and big. I can change the font to something really friendly. I can change the alignment. I want to keep it center, of course. The spacing. Do you need to bother with all this stuff? You can if you want to. I don't bother with any of this stuff. The face here is clicked. If I don't click on it, there's no face. If I click on it, it shows up. Then I press show, and I can change the color of the actual font here. I like it white, okay? And let's just keep it that way. Now, if I want to take this exact font and move it over onto the actual footage,
Hey everyone.
I can take this and press Command C. Right? I've touched it, I've highlighted, I press Command C, I've moved the skimmer to a certain position, and now I press Command V, right? Command copy and paste. Now watch. Press spacebar.
Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Jim.
So now it's going over the actual footage. So I'm going to take this and change it. I double clicked on it. I can press here and click and type, or I can type here. Um, this is important. Okay. Now, this I don't want, maybe I'll just have it go up to this point right there. It kind of snaps into place and alerts you. I'm going to double click on this to make sure that it can be adjusted. I'm going to make it smaller, and I'm going to move it by dragging the actual title down maybe over here, and I'm going to make it even smaller than that. If I want to, I put important on a different line here, and I'll do this. And then I'll align it again using the alignment tool. Maybe I'll highlight everything like so. You saw how I did that. I highlighted this area and I can adjust it further here. And then I can line this up against the edge of my screen like so. Okay, now I'll highlight this again just to make sure. Now I want to make sure it's very easily read, so I'm going to put an outline around it, and I'll press Show. I'm going to fill with color and change the outline to a bright green, like so. You can't really see it right now, but I'm going to change the width of the highlighting to be like very big. Now let's see how it looks. I'm going to click somewhere, just kind of look at it. It's kind of hard to read. I'm going to press Outline and Show again, and I am going to blur it. So it has a soft glow. Maybe I can change the color again to like a blue color right there. Looks good. Once you choose your color, the one that you like, actually red I kind of stay away from, but it tends to pop the most. It just kind of has a stop effect on people, so use it, sparingly in my opinion. If you click on this color wheel gradient shows up. And if you click on the actual swatch, this thing shows up, right? So I recommend if you find a color that you like, take this swatch here and move it into a box like so. And that way you can always come back and grab it by going to a title and then clicking on the swatch in the outline section or face section. Click on that and it shows up, and just click on that actual box and you'll have consistency in color. I hope that helps. After you're done, you can place this anywhere you want, change the size, and then I'll click on somewhere else. And there you go. Let's go ahead and watch this for a second by pressing spacebar.
Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Jimmy. I am here with my friend, and I have the air purifier on. I'll see you guys in the tutorial. Bye bye.
Okay, so we can also, along with adding titles, we can also add music. And we can do that. We can also add backgrounds and titles. And now we can add music here. And we can go to music, and we can go to sound effects, right? And sound effects will show up here after a while. There's so many of them. You press play, press pause to stop it, and literally drag that out and place it somewhere, like so. And just like the video, you can kind of crop it out like that, move the volume like so, and you can even take this slider here and you can even cut it by pressing the B on your keyboard and cutting it, pressing A to select it, and then deleting it, just like that. Let's listen again.
My name is Jimmy. I am here with my friend, and I have the air purifier on.
So they also have music, they have jingles, all that stuff you can put in here. Now you see that it was actually pretty loud. So what could you do? You can double click on this and you can now adjust the sound in here. Just like you did with the footage sound, you can adjust the sound of the sample. You can also press Command with your left finger on the keyboard and then use your finger on the mouse. It'll adjust it incrementally. You'll see why that's important once you try it out. Okay, I'm gonna lower this a little bit so it's not very important. Maybe down to -3. Press spacebar.
Purifier on.
Okay, you can also press this to view the video in full screen, and then press escape to go back to your app view. All right, so now let's talk about how to um, export this project now that we talked about color correction, sound correction, cutting things up, and using titles and all that stuff, right? So I think it's good enough to go ahead and press share. When we do share, I recommend going to master file. When you press master file, go to settings here. If you look around, you'll see that how many megabytes there is. Under settings, we're going to go to resolution, and you can choose from any one of these. If I'm going to send it to someone for reference, it doesn't matter how small it is, right? It's always going to be good quality. But I recommend going as big as you can for YouTube under depending on how you recorded it. And then format should be computer. Um, you should also leave this checked and just leave it like this is fine. 35 megs for a very short file. And I think that MP4 is the way to go because most people can play that. Press next, and then it'll ask you, is this what you want to call your project? Is this where you want it to export to? Yes. And then you go ahead and take a look at this circle here in the top left-hand corner. This is like the progress bar, and it shows you how much more you need to go. As this is going, you should not work on other projects. It stops the progress and it makes it very slow. So don't do that. Just let it process and let it go. Press close on this notification. I'm going to press play. Please note that it's playing in QuickTime Player. If you use VLC on your computer, you will look different. For some reason, when you use VLC, your skin tone it just changes. I use QuickTime. I think it's closest to the way other people will see you. I'm going to press play.
Hey everyone.
So you notice that the intro is way too long, right? I should have shrunk down that intro by making the title and the background much smaller. But that was my fault because I did not check the entire video before exporting. But now that I've done that, I can go back and fix it and export it again.
How's it going? My name is Jimmy. I am here with my friend, and I have the air purifier on. I'll see you guys in the tutorial. Bye.
Wow, that was terrible. But as it goes towards the end, you can hear that the noise suppression is working and the sound effect is far too loud. So now that I've done that, I can go back and make this a little smaller, right? I can make this a little quieter, like so, make it real subtle. This is also way too long, so I'm gonna do it like that, right? And then make everything just much shorter, like so. We went over a lot of things. I recommend getting your own project going and try different clips from different things. Go ahead and take something that you found on your desktop and drag it in here. You can do that. You can drag in pictures, you can make a slideshow, you can make a diagram, integrate it with your speaking, and you'll get better with detaching audio and doing all kinds of split screen stuff if you want to. Many things that you can do,
I'll see you guys in the tutorial.
right? So a lot of things you can do and get creative with. I hope this gets you guys going with Final Cut Pro. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.